been such a long time since I've seen y'all. As most of you know, if you follow our blog at underatexassky.com, the Mean Man and I have purchased a 1901 Victorian farmhouse in a little Central Texas town, and it's a house that's been in need of extensive renovations, and that's what we've been doing since we closed in March. But we started this process in January, the process of selling our other house and moving, and so there hasn't been just a lot of time for me to spend showing y'all any new things on video, at least. Of course, at underatexassky.com there are tons of tons of posts on lots of things that we've done, especially in the past few weeks. We just got my craft room completed, and you'll notice maybe just from this shot that it's very similar to my craft room I had in my other house. We did a really good job of picking pieces to organize that craft room that we're able to transfer. Meaning, you can zoom around if you want to. You'll see our camera lights when he does, but a lot of the stuff here is the exact stuff that we had when we were in our other house, and we were just able to kind of fit it into a smaller space. But if you're doing a craft room, I do have a post on everything that we have in here, and you can see how we organized and did what we did. And if you are trying to design your own, then maybe you can take some of our tips and tricks and do it yourself. Like I said, that post was this past week on underatexassky.com. But if we go ahead and get down to the wreath, Mean Man, I think we'll be good to go. Today we're going to do, now I promised y'all on my Facebook page, and y'all be sure and go to Facebook and look up Under a Texas Sky and like my page, because if I post something on the website, I'm going to let you know on Facebook, and so that's a way you can stay in touch. I had been trying to do a newsletter pretty frequently. I've stopped doing that. It's hard and difficult to get a newsletter out every week, so now I send one out about once a month. So if you subscribe to my website on the website page, then you'll get that newsletter update. But and on my Facebook and Instagram, I had promised y'all this Halloween wreath tutorial that I did a couple days ago, and that tutorial is going to be on underatexassky.com, but it's not going to be a video tutorial. It's going to be just a step-by-step tutorial with pictures. So if you want to see that, definitely go to the blog. Today, though, I'm going to do basically the same wreath. This is a wreath that is going to incorporate a 21-inch Deco mesh roll and a couple of 10-inch Deco mesh rolls that I'm going to cut into 10-inch strips for the ruffles. So this is going to be Pouf plus ruffle. It's really my favorite looking wreath. Not necessarily my favorite to make, but it is my favorite looking wreath. 21-inch is kind of difficult. In my opinion, the Pouf method is kind of a difficult method to do to get it all even, but when you combine the the ruffles with it, it's great. I get this question all the time. Several times on my videos, people ask me, how many twists did I attach to the wreath form? I don't attach any twists to the wreath form because I buy these suckers already done. To me, it's just too difficult to take a flat wreath form and then add your pipe cleaners or whatever to the thing. I buy them this way. Craftoutlet.com is a good place to go. They've got every kind of wreath form. These are called work wreath forms. They're pencil wreath forms. What I love about these is they come in all colors, and you can incorporate these twists into your wreath itself. So you don't have to try to hide them. And that's a difficult thing in my opinion. So that's what we're using. This, when you buy it, I think this is a 15-inch diameter. They call it a 24-inch wreath though, because it's okay, Mean Man. He was offering me a tape measure. But once you make it, when your stuff is on it, it does probably turn out to be about 24 inches, which is perfect size for a door. So what we're doing fall wreath because it's August and it's time to be doing that. I've used, and I get my mesh also from Craft Outlet, and I use them because they have a good variety of both basic mesh and premium mesh. And a basic mesh, I'll show you, sorry I didn't already have this open, usually is a much more open weave. This one is super open. It does have a little gold thread running through it, but you see how much you can see through this? If I make my whole wreath out of this and I don't add enough stuff to the other twists on top of it, you're going to be able to see that wreath form right through it. So I'm using a more premium mesh for the ruffles, and you can see the difference. You can barely see through this, and this one is even a little bit tighter than that. So anyway, so that's what you're going to need. One roll of 21-inch mesh, and I don't know if the craft stores carry a premium type mesh, so you might have to plan ahead, maybe order it online. There are several outlets where you can get them, I think even on Amazon. I'm just going to pack this wreath full of stuff. I've got lots of ribbon, 2-inch ribbon, 1.5-inch ribbon, all fall colors. I'm going to pack it out, and after I get the wreath done, show you basically how we're going to do it, I'm going to take some time on this video at the end to show you how I attach things to the wreath form. I've gotten lots and lots of questions, which I always answer. If you leave a comment or a question on this video, I will answer your question, usually within a day or two. Most of the time it's the same day. But I'm going to spend some time showing you how you can attach things to your wreath to make sure they're really secure. There's nothing worse than your elements falling off of your wreath, because sometimes, you know, like on my new front door, I can't use a wreath hanger. I have to hang it with a suction hook, and it's fallen off the door several times. If my stuff wasn't secured really tightly, that wreath would have fallen apart by now. So I'm going to spend some time showing you that. So here, I don't know what that means, mean man. Okay. Just giving me my time. Sometimes I chat just a little bit too much. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to get right into it. I always touch base with you about some tools that you'll need if you're going to make these wreaths. One of them is a rotary cutter. Must have a rotary cutter. Good pair of scissors. Wire cutters, because stems, flowers, florals, they have to be cut to go inside your wreath most of the time, to get the tops off of them and stuff like that. Glue, I use a hot glue skillet. These just have little pellets that you melt. This thing is, I bought it off of Amazon. On my blog, on my wreath pages, there'll be a link where you can see exactly what I bought. This sucker is blazing hot. Don't make any mistake about touching it. Do not set it on a surface without protection. This sits on, I just use a ceramic tile that it sits on. You must do that because it will melt. Under this ceramic tile is this work mat that I use to protect my desk, and it melted the first time I used it. So be aware of that. Okay, and to do the Pouf method wreath, you do need a ruler that will go. This one goes 18 inches. Usually my Poufs are 13 to 15 inches, something like that. And so, and I measure every single Pouf because I just don't trust my eye, and I cannot stand for a wreath to be out of balance. You know, bigger Pouf here, little Pouf there. That's super annoying to me. So the first thing you'll do is just go ahead and pull your twists up where they're kind of upright, because you're going to need to open them to put your mesh in between. And so, and these are just wire. They just are like fuzzy twist ties, really, honestly. That's exactly what they remind me of. So what you're going to do, and you can do this if you have a premium or poly burlap. Poly burlap is great too. If you have a premium mesh or a poly burlap mesh, see how I just dropped that on the floor? So it'll come off the roll a little bit easier, because these little sides tend to stick on each other when you're trying to roll it out. But if you have a premium or poly burlap, you can definitely make a whole wreath with this and just put ribbons in your twists instead of more mesh if you want to, but you really want to be sure that wreath form is covered up. So anyway, here's what we're going to do. And this is, you'll see what I'm talking about, how it can be a little annoying. I'm just going to take a length of the mesh and I just gathered it up, and I leave a tail because you want to be able to tuck it into the wreath form itself. I start on the outer ring just because it's my preference. There's no law that says you have to start on the outer ring. I mean, I don't know, is this stuff going to be in the way, Mean Man? Can you see what I'm doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm just going to put this in to the twist, and I'm going to give it just a good twist. I'm not going to twist it all up because I'm going to open this back up when I put elements inside of it. So then I'm going to come, and you can already see some of this isn't even. Just got to give it a tug, and I'm going to pull it, and then I'm going to take my ruler and I measure every single one of these poofs. I'm going to come out 13 inches. You can come as much as...
Show where you're starting the measurement from.
I'm starting the measurement from the twist itself, from the base of the twist. And my wreath has a little, my ruler has a little hole here so that it doesn't, the zero doesn't start until a little ways in. So I'm measuring out, I'm going 13 inches. You see where that is. Then I'm just going to grab it and kind of adjust it a little bit because you want to be sure it's going to come out to a poof when you get it in the next twist. And I'm going to come around to the next twist tie, open that up, and I am going to, you see how, I'm fighting this a little bit, so don't think it's just you when you're doing this, because it can be a little bit of a struggle, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. See, and I hate that. Okay, there we go. Now I got it poofed out a little bit better. So then I'm going to come and just repeat. And that's the thing about these wreaths, it's just repetitive. I'm going to make my measurement to 13. Open this twist. Come in. Pop it in. And give it a good twist. And if you don't twist it tight enough, it's going to come, it'll come undone. And then I'm going to flip it out. I'm going to show you one more. I'm not going to bore you with the whole thing, showing me going all the way around. I'm going to do one more, then we're going to break away, and I'm going to finish the outer ring, and then I'll be right back to show you how you get to the center ring after you've done all of this all the way around the outside. Pop that in right there, and then try to fluff it out. Make sure that it's all looking even. For some reason something doesn't look even, stop, correct it before you get too far around. So that's how it looks at this point. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the outer ring. I'll try to time it because I never do time it, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so that has literally taken me like 2 minutes to fill in the rest of these. I'm about to go to the very first twist that we started with. I'm going to put this last poof. I don't know if you can see this, I'm knocking stuff everywhere. I'm going to open this twist up. You got that, Mean Man? Mm-hmm. So when you undo it, okay, so I'm going to open this twist up all the way to there, and I'm going to go ahead and put this into that poof, into that. Okay, and give it a good twist. Fluff this out, make sure it's still kind of good. It is literally only kind of good. Things kind of flatten out and twist in on themselves. Now we're going to go to the center. And how I'm going to do that, I'm going to go ahead and take this tail that I started with, and I'm going to tuck it in side the wreath form right there. Okay.
Pull it back up and show it again.
I just tucked it in right there. You see?
Hold on.
Okay. Now, I've got this tail basically that I ended with, and I'm going to come to the center ring, to the twist that is closest, which I think it's going to be this one. And I'm going to pull it tight. I'm not going to do a poof here. If you do a poof here, you're going to have an extra poof just kind of hanging there. And it's not going to make any sense to the rest of the wreath. So I'm going to pull this tight, straight, and I'll show you, I'll pick it up in just a second. Straight into this center ring. And I'm going to twist it shut as soon as I find the other side of the thing. There it is. Okay. So I'm going to bring it in here, and I'm going to twist it. Okay. So now you can see I just went straight down. Don't do a poof here. Straight down to this, the closest twist to the outer ring.
Hold it up and show the back.
There's really nothing you can see from the back. So, there it is. Now we're going to just start the process again. I'm going to take it, I'm going to make my poofs. Like I said, you know, it's a little bit of a struggle working with this, and it depends on the type of mesh that you use as well. I'm going to tighten this down even better because it wants to slip out. You can't have that slipping out. Okay. So I'm going to gather my 13 inches. Then I'm going to come to the next twist tie. Open it up. Slap this in here. Twist it down. And then repeat the process. And you're going to go around all of your center. I really do like the color of this mesh. I have to say, it's kind of a brownish with this gold thread. It's pretty. Oh, there goes Max. He likes to lay on the landing of the stairs, and he can see all the comings and goings of the neighbors and such, and he does not like anyone to go outside. I guess only we're allowed to go outside. Okay, I'm going to show you one more poof, and then I'm going to cut away, and then I'll do what I just did a second ago, and I'll finish it off camera, so you won't have to endure watching me do this all the way around. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you where we are, and I'm fluffing these out. So here's where we are. We've almost got, you know, I've still got several twists to fill up, but we're going to do that right now. I'm going to cut away. We'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm coming in. Remember that very first twist we did where we went straight down and then started the poofs? I'm coming up to that very twist. So I'm going to open it back up, and, which I have, you have to trust me on that. And I'm going to put this last poof, I'm going to twist it in. So here's where I wound up, and then I've got this tail. So I'm going to cut this. I'm going to give a couple of inches again so I can tuck it into the wreath form. Okay. And then I'm going to just tuck it. Boy, I wish he'd stop barking. I apologize for that. Then I'm going to go ahead and fluff this final poof out. See, I've done that with all of them. I have kind of fluffed them all out, and this is basically what you get, which is pretty. You know, it's pretty, but you can see that wreath form behind it, and that's not what you want. But see how these twists, they incorporate into it. It looks great. Very fall. Very good. Now I'm going to do the ruffles, and to do the ruffles, I've gone ahead and pre-cut all of the ruffles that I'm going to need. I'm going to put 2 ruffles into every twist. And there are 18 twists on a wreath, so I'm going to have to do 36. But the way that I do it is I take my rolls. I'm just going to show you because I've got them all cut except for the last one. And I wanted to show you how I do that. This is 10-inch mesh, and I'm going to cut it in 10-inch length. So basically you have a 10 by 10 square by the time it's all done. But you can see I stack 2 rolls on top of each other because I want to be able to maximize my cuts, since I have to make 18 cuts to get the 18 twists. And then and this is why it's important. I love the cutting board or the cutting mat. They've got rulers on them. It's great. This ruler is also good for holding down the mesh you're going to cut. This is not an exact science. You don't have to use a straight edge. You don't have to get all worked up about making sure it's perfectly straight. But if you have a cutting mat, you've got a line that starts here and you can see where it ends up here, so you can kind of use that as your guide. So I want to make this 10 inches. So I've got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I'm going to go to 11. My mat is backwards on this side, so it's not as easy as, the math is not as easy. But I'm going to just go ahead and put my rotary cutter on the 10-inch mark, roll it up, and boom, I've got 2 cuts in one. And that is a real time saver, especially if you're going to do a wreath with just ruffles, which honestly is my favorite kind of wreath to make, because I will put 3 ruffles in every twist. That's 36 cuts if I was cutting them individually. But if I stack them 1, 2, 3 on top of each other, then I only have to make 18 cuts, which is still a lot. But I'm going to show you how to make the ruffle. Super, super duper easy. Can you see this, mean man? Let me use the orange one since it's darker. Can you see? Okay, and you're just going to start in the middle, and you're just going to pinch the middle. And there you go. It's just like a little butter. The mean man's really aggravated with me. I don't know why he doesn't just tell me what he'd like for me to do so I can show him. I'm sorry?
Keep it in the shot.
I don't know where the shot is, though.
Where your hands were.
So.
You moved it up, I lost you.
There we go. So
people don't like when you zoom in and out, so I'm trying to keep it in one area.
I gotcha. So here's the little bow, butterfly, whatever. And I'm going to put these in every single twist. So it doesn't matter where I start. I'm just knocking things off left and right. I'm going to go ahead and start on the inside just because, no particular reason. And I'm going to smush that in. I've got orange on the bottom. So you see there how I just opened that twist up and smushed it in right there in that middle part. Now I'm going to take the gold one, and that's going to go on top of that. Now, some people have the ability to go ahead and scrunch both of them up, stick them both in there at the same time. I just can't. I can't do it. Stuff gets twisted around, and I feel like I don't have any control. And so, I just do it one at a time, but you can certainly do it ever how you want. And I open that twist up, and then once you get them in there, they've got a natural curve because they were on a roll. And so you want to kind of make it to where it's not flipped out, but flipped in, going in the natural direction. I'm going to do one more. And again, I won't bore you with watching me put them all in. Now, next time I'm going to start opposite of that. I'm going to put the gold on the bottom. And so I'm going to go ahead and scrunch that in the middle. Kind of make sure, once you get it all done, take a look at it. Make sure you don't have one big side and one skinny side. Just kind of make sure you pinch it sort of in the middle. I'm going to come to the next twist. I'm going to open it up, which I just opened the twist up. I'm going to smush this down in here. Just going to give it one little twist so it doesn't pop back out. And I'm still not twisting this shut all the way because we still have ribbons to go in those twists. And you're going to want to open it back up because we're putting lots of stuff in here. And if you didn't open the twist back up, you'd just be stacking your stuff on top of twists, and you're going to run out of room with as much stuff as we are putting in here. Okay, so you can see here, so I've got the first one was orange gold, the second one is gold orange, and you just continue that around the inside and then go to the outside and do exactly the same thing. So I'm going to continue doing that, and I'll be right back, and I'll let you know how long it took me. Okay, so I've gotten all of the ruffles integrated into every single twist, 2 ruffles per twist. See, it's gorgeous. This is absolutely beautiful, just like it is. I'm not gonna lie to you, it takes a little bit of time to do this. It probably took me a good 20 minutes. It's not nearly as fast as getting these poofs in. But see, even though these poofs are not perfect, it's okay, because these ruffles, once they smoosh down in there, then it creates this really pretty little twist on each one of those ruffles. Now you're going to have some strings on Deco mesh wreaths. They're strings. You know, when you trim these off, they're just going to have some strings. Trim them off. Don't get worked up about it. And again, the wreath form that I used that already has the twists on it, those twists look beautiful in the wreath just like they are. Now it's time for the ribbon portion. What I'm going to do, you can see my little glue pot is smoking a little bit. I had to turn the heat up because the glue wasn't melting all the way. I'm going to use, looks like 4 different types of ribbon. All of these, you showing this pile here, Mean Man? All of these are not going to go in every single twist. I've done 9, which is half of them in the orange, 9 in the polka dot, 9 in the plaid, and then I did one of these burlap for every single twist. I always like to show you this little chevron end. How do you accomplish that? If you're going to put, you know, your ribbons into a wreath, a nice finished edge looks, it just looks more complete. There are 2 ways to accomplish this. You can do it, you know, just one end at a time, where you would fold over your ribbon, and then you're going to cut from the fold side diagonally down to the open side. But I like to knock them both out at the same time. So you fold it over, get it as even as you can, and then you're going to fold that over on that end. Then you'll take your scissors and do the same thing. Folded side down in a diagonal to the open side. And you get both ends done at the same time, which is great. Now, putting your ribbon and the length of the ribbon, that's another thing. I generally do the length of my ribbon basically the same size as I make my poofs. So these poofs were all 13 inches. I cut my ribbon at 13 inches. When you know, and buying your ribbon, I also buy my ribbon online. I go to craftoutlet.com. They don't pay me. I don't get any money from them or anything, but I like using them because you can buy your ribbon in yard rolls and not feet. At the craft stores, it seems like you only get 15 feet. Well, if you're going to be doing a 13-inch ribbon and 18 different twists, that ribbon's not going to go that far. But if you can get one that's 25 yards or 10 yards, that's a lot more ribbon. So what I did here, again, I just pinched it in the middle. And, you know, I guess, honestly, you could do a number of ribbons together if you wanted to. So let's see what I did here. I just kind of twisted them, you know, around each other. And I'm going to come in here. Of course, it's going to be kind of confusing if you do that because you're wanting to even out everything. I mean, for me, I guess I just have a cluttered mind. It's a little bit easier for me to do them one at a time so I can see what I've got going as I go. But I just open that twist up, twist your ribbon in there, kind of flip it out. You see how that looks right there. And we're going to do this. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and put all of these ribbons in every single twist, and then I'll come back and I'll alternate between this 2-inch plaid, this 1.5-inch polka dot. This is kind of a burlap. And then this is just a pretty orange. It has kind of a print on it that makes it look a little bit rustic. So I'm going to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and cut away. I know I just got back, but I'm going to cut away. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do all of the ribbons. And when we come back, we're going to talk about attaching. Be right back. Okay, so I've gotten all of the ribbons twisted into every twist. Remember, I used the burlap in every single twist. Then I used the plaid in half of them, and I used the polka dots in half of them, and I used the orange in half of them, and you just have to decide where you can make it kind of even. You know, always work on your wreath, hang it on the wall, or get a wreath stand, step back, look at it and see how things are shaping up. But now I want to talk to you about attaching things, which is really just the bane of my existence. This is the hardest thing to do when you're talking about a Deco mesh wreath. Simply because, like, for instance, like this little, I'm not going to use this welcome sign, but if I wanted to attach this welcome sign, well, you know, you're pretty good because you've got this little hanger right here. Now, if I were to use a zip tie with this, though, what's going to happen is I would attach it to the wreath form. And so what is going to happen is that once I zip that zip tie on up, it's going to pull this in toward the wreath form.
Turn it sideways so they can see how it pulls out
Yeah.
from the side.
There we go. So you can see, and if you have a big sign, you pull that one end in and the bottom's going to pooch out. It's just physics, the way it's going to happen. So if I were to hang this sign, instead of using a zip tie, I want to have more control over the sign, I could always use floral wire. This is a really good tool to have. And so I kind of have to think, okay, the width of my wreath, and when I say attach it, I'm talking about attaching it to one of the rings of the wreath form, okay? So I'm going to attach this. Let me pull out. It doesn't take a whole lot. I don't know. This is what, about 10 inches of wire. And this has a nifty little cutter on it. So I've got my wire. What I would do is I'd go ahead and run it through kind of the middle here. And it's just the way I do it. I mean, there may be people out there, I mean, there are much better wreath makers than me out there. I know that do it all, you know, much more frequently, do it for a living. They may have some better ideas, but for me, and then of course you have to worry about getting it in the middle of the wreath, and when you pull it, it's going to come up, and blah, blah, blah. It can be very stressful. Okay, so I've got the wire. I don't know, man, if you can see this. Let me turn it. The wire is through here, and I'm kind of adjusting this as I go. And then I can twist the floral wire. I know you can't see. I can't even see. I'm just kind of twisting it around the wreath form. So I don't know if you can even see that, but it's twisted around. And so when I bring it back this way, okay, now you can see how it is sucked in to that hole. Now, you have an option here too. You can put floral wire on the bottom as well. A lot of times I'll have the Mean Man drill a small hole in these signs where I can thread that floral wire through there. But if I wanted to, I could take the floral wire, I could wrap it around this piece right here that's hanging off of it and pull it through, and then you can see, even from the side, I've gotten it evened out. So floral wire is a good option for hanging things in the middle of your wreath. Another thing with the floral wire, you can poke it straight through the mesh. You know, the mesh has got holes in it, and it goes straight through. You don't have to worry about finding a hole in there and opening up a gap that could cause a problem that, you know, people could see. I'm going to go ahead and, well, I don't know what cutters my small cutters are. So I'm going to use this for a big thing. I'm going to go ahead and cut, actually, I'm going to untwist this and get this off of here because it really is a little too rustic for this wreath. I'm not going to go with that. I'm just going to take it off. Okay, so that's one good way to attach things. Of course, always hot glue is a good way to attach things. I thought that would just come right off. You want to use really good hot glue though. You don't want something that's going to let go. And so here's where this glue pot comes in, where I can just dip whatever I'm going to put in here. I twirl it around. I got the glue on there. And I'm just going to stick this right in here. And I just got my finger and it hurts. And it's always good if you, honestly, for me, gluing it where you touch one of the twist ties, that's a good idea. If you just glue it to your mesh, remember your mesh is loose. Your mesh is not, all of the mesh is not attached tightly, only, you know, the middle of it. And so if you could get that attached to one of the twists, it's not going to go anywhere. That twist is really attached to the wreath form, and it's not just hanging mesh. Flowers are the same way. I always like to keep a little bit of a stem if I'm going to put a flower in a wreath. That's pretty. I just like to, I like to have a little bit of extra area for the glue. So here.
Hold it right there. Let's see how much glue you put on there.
Not a ton. I just wrap that stem in it, and then I'm going to go right in here to where that twist was, and you know, add your fall elements. Let me do something where you see I use a zip tie though, because I do use zip ties. I just keep a box. There's a huge variety. You can get them. You can get zip ties anywhere, Walmart or auto parts store. Let me. I hadn't thought of this. Let me grab. Sorry. Okay. So I've got this little dilly dauber here. I don't like that curve on it.
Is that a technical term?
Yes, that is the technical term, a dilly dauber. So I've got these little twisty things. So if I wanted to put this in, now here, I'm going to use a zip tie, and this is great for picks, floral picks or whatever, if you don't take the flower off of it. So I'm going to try to find, well, that glue is still a little bit wet, and it totally got me. It didn't hurt, but it got me. Let's see if I can get this. Okay, so I've got this pulled through. I'm going to turn it around. Here it is right here. And so I want to zip tie that to the wreath form because I don't want it slipping out. So I can, and if I pulled it down, well, this one's okay. If I pull, sometimes if you pull it, your pick will, you know, go up because gravity, whatever. But this is a little bit more forgiving. But I'm going to, do you see this, Nina? Mm-hmm. I'm going to attach it to this part of the wreath form. So I'm going to go under it. I'm going to show y'all in just a second. I'm not going to leave you hanging. Okay. A lot of times with your picks, they're made out of wire, and you can wrap it around the wreath form first, and that makes it really clean. If you're making it for yourself, a wreath for yourself, you don't have to worry so much about what the back looks like. If you're selling it, clean up the back of it. You know, get your strings trimmed off and everything. You want, if you're selling something to someone, you want them to realize that they are getting really good quality. Because quite frankly, you know, they can buy mass-produced wreath for not very much money. These wreaths are more expensive, but every single one of them is unique and a one-off piece. Okay, so you see how I've got that zip tied in?
Turn it around. There you go.
Yeah, I just zip tied it down, and I got it as tight as I could get it where there's no more give. And let's just see how, oh yeah, that's not going anywhere. That is in there. It's not sliding around or anything. The only reason it looks like it's pulling is because that's a spring. And then, you know, since you're, like I said, and even if you're making this for yourself, clean it up. Let's get that, let's trim that off. And then kind of turn it to where that little sharp edge that you just cut is away from you where you can't get poked or anything like that. So honestly, I mean, that's really it. The hot glue, picks, you know, floral wire, and zip ties. Those are really the ways to go. Usually, you know, when you're doing a wreath like this, you know, you do need a lot of elements, and you know, I've got tons of pumpkins and leaves. You know, don't forget about leaves. Leaves are awesome. You know, this is a fall wreath, and a lot of times I'll just kind of stick stuff in there, to see how it's going to look before I hot glue it in. Another, ornaments. You think, well, ornaments are only for Christmas wreaths, but that's not really true. You can put all kinds, if it's just a glittery ornament ball, that goes on any kind of wreath. And then I also have these wire, man, do you remember where those wire, I had a box of wire, anyway, like this. Just get these little wire balls. They're awesome. They look beautiful. You know, when you
hold that up, let me get a close up of that.
Of this?
Yeah, so they can see what you. Yeah.
See? I mean, that's so pretty. I like having dimension. That's why these little twists, and I mean, you can pick those up at Hobby Lobby. You know, they do 50% off every other week of stuff. You can pick these things up in just bins for little or nothing. So I encourage you to do that. Now, I know I haven't completely finished the wreath, but y'all have the gist of what the wreath is going to look like. I think you've got the tools to be able to create a beautiful wreath. I will finish this, and when the picture for the video will be the completed wreath, and you'll see exactly what we came up with, and it'll be on the blog under texasguy.com. And go to Facebook, like my page. You know, just open your Facebook page and search Under a Texas Sky. Go to Instagram, and I think my Instagram, though, it is not Under a Texas Sky.
It's on the back of that.
It's, well, I can't see it, but my Instagram, I think it's Kimbrough2524. My name is Kelly Kimbrough. You can search for Kelly Kimbrough, and it should come up. But anyway, I'm so glad to be back. On the blog, if you want to see our new house, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous farmhouse, Victorian farmhouse from 1901. We are doing lots of entries and blogs. What is it?
Kimbrough 2524.
Kimbrough 2524. That's how you find me on Instagram. But we have, we totally gutted the kitchen. We went down to the studs. We had to replace the entire back wall of the house because it was so rotted. Don't get me wrong, this house it's got a lot of problems, and we are experiencing a lot of different things. But if you'd like to follow along with that, that would be awesome. We'd love to have you along. And if you're doing any kind of renovations yourself, you'll find some tips and tricks on what you can do there too. But I encourage you to go ahead and try to make one of your own wreaths. You know, and I've said this many times on my videos, but the world seems real ugly right now. It just seems like a real ugly place, and people are very angry and unhappy, it seems like. So I think we should do our part as much as we can. First of all, to be kind to each other, and let's give ourselves a break, and let's give other people a break. And let's create something beautiful. This will look great on your front door. Don't worry about the quality. Don't compare your stuff to other people's stuff. Don't do it. You'll be disappointed every time. I'm disappointed if I were to do that. I look on Pinterest and I see gorgeous wreaths, and I think, man, I wish my wreaths looked like that. But you know what? I don't allow myself to dwell there. This makes me happy. I feel good when I'm doing it. I love the result, and you know what? An even better result of that is if you gift it to somebody, you will feel so good, and they will really, really appreciate it. So anyway, check out undertexasguy.com, and we are going to see you next time. There'll be more videos coming a little bit more frequently. I'm so glad that you guys love what we do. I love to hear from you. Subscribe to my channel, and you'll know whenever we put out a new video. I appreciate y'all so much, and I just hope you have a happy day. Blessings.